Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another flashback premiere draft of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Without further ado, let's get to the pack 1, pick 1 here. It's honestly not a very good pack. Magda is only about the card quality of like a solid uncommon. You can pop off with Magda if you're really lucky and you do commit 3 crimes. You can get a 4/4 flying dragon with haste, which is pretty gnarly. So I will try to play around with the Magda here, but I think she's the best card in the pack and only by a little bit, like a little bit better than the Erranks here. And I like either of these a little more than the Lawbringer simply because they are monocolored ways to start things off. I don't find black-white to be like super powerful archetype or anything. Pick 2, Assimilation Aegis is pretty good. It does require us to play specifically blue-white, but it's great removal, exiling the best creature on your opponent's board and letting you turn your creatures into a copy of it. It's pretty cool. Again, blue-white's a pretty mediocre archetype overall, but there's not a lot else going on in this pack. There's Reckless Lackey, which could have decent synergy with Magda. You can sack it to make a treasure and draw a card, so turn this into a treasure token to get towards that dragon with Magda would be cute. But in terms of raw card quality, the best card in the pack's probably just a common, just the big 4/4 beaver outside of the multicolored spells, so I'll take the multicolored spell on this one. I think the disparity in card quality between the monocolored and multicolored is more than high enough here. Man, this is kind of a weird, awkward draft so far. Not a lot of my favorite commons and uncommons showing up at all here. We have a fine controlling, crime committing uncommon of the Servant of the Stinger or the Bandit's Hall. Both of these fit pretty well into that same kind of 3-color control-y crime committee deck. This can turn itself into a demonic tutor, grabbing whatever you need out of your deck if you've committed a crime when this hits your opponent. And the Bandit's Hall can draw you some cards if you commit enough crimes, while also fixing mana. I mean, we're in 3 different colors of cards right now. Let's start with Bandit's Hall, but I was never overly impressed by any of the Bandit's Hall decks. There's just not a lot going on here. Pick number 4. Fine filler red creatures. Duelist plays well with Bandit's Hall and Magda since this can commit a crime every single turn. But it's otherwise quite filler when you don't have the crime trigger cards. But that's 2 of them that really want us committing crimes as much as possible, so Duelist could be okay. Gigabeat does play pretty well. It's quite expensive, but black has a lot of spells like Badlands Revival and Mourner's Revival, where you can like trade this off and then keep reanimating it over and over and getting tons and tons and tons of 2-for-1s with it. So Gigapede does play pretty well, but I think if I wanted to go down that route, I'd rather just start with the Badlands Revival, and I like the card enough to take it here. This reanimates the best creature from your grave and puts another permanent from your grave back to your hand, so it's a 2-for-1 and a big reanimation spell at the same time. Good stuff. Pick 5 Lasted by the Law is beautiful here. Excellent monocolored removal. This is a first pickable card. This might be the best card we've drafted so far, honestly. If I saw a pack and it had Lasted by the Law and these 4 spells, yeah, I'd pick one the Lasted by the Law, so I'm pretty happy about that. Pick number 6. There's a blue-red dual land that also commits a crime when we play it. It has the desert subtype as well, which can be relevant. There's basically just that or Tyrant Scorn for the best cards. Tyrant Scorn, though, pretty hard to cast. Currently in 5 different colors right now. We'll definitely have to find a much clearer direction to take as this draft progresses. We're still only on pick 6, so not at the point where it's going to be super dangerous to still be 5-color, but we're getting there. Just really haven't seen the high enough card quality to have a particularly clear sense of direction out of this draft yet still. Pick number 7, I think we take Outlaw Medic just because Lasted by the Law was the strongest monocolored card we got late. And everything here is pretty comparably mid. Honestly, Medic's probably the best card regardless of color by at least a little bit. Regardless of anything else. Prickly Pear is likely the best card here if we completely disregard colors. I think Pear's enough better than Bighorn to take it here. Because if we wanted to take something focused on our most likely color there, we'd take a white spell now with Lasso and Medic. But like taking pair there. Now we're on all filler here, pick number 9. Nothing I'd be excited to play. We'll take red filler. Pick 10 is also all filler, but Form a Posse would go into a Boros deck that we might be headed towards. The way things have ended up. Really mediocre archetype in the set. Not one I would want to end up in, but just kind of where things have naturally fallen so far. Reckless Lackey is solid with Magda. I don't mind that. Then more red spells. They're not good ones, but they are the right color at least. Okay, well, hopefully pack 2 will allow us to see much higher card quality than we've found so far. For some of the weakest Outlaws of Thunder Junction packs seen in a little while. Well, if we have double Magda, we can really build around her. I do think the black spells are way better, Desert Stew and Vault Plunder, but we did not see a significant amount of good black at all. We didn't really see a significant amount of good cards in any color in particular, so it doesn't necessarily mean that black was heavily drafted or that black was being cut. But the position we're in right now, we can definitely play red. So I'm thinking we just grab the second Magda. This is going to be an interesting draft. This is not going to be one of those drafts where I get to really show off a particularly powerful archetype and what happens when that archetype goes right, and this is what the basic shell of that archetype should be. This is going to be a draft where I get to show off what do you do when the draft goes really wrong in OTJ. That's how I'm feeling right now. All right, grab a Magda. Pack 2, pick 2, aggressive red card. Boros is somewhat aggressive, the red-white color pair in like any formats. However, we really do benefit off of just committing a bunch of crimes with double Magda now. So we could try to do like Caught in the Crossfire. This technically isn't a crime, though, which is kind of awkward. But it can be a one-sided board wipe in the right matchup. There's so much green beef, though. There's like specific colors where it's not going to do anything. Burrow Fiend is the strongest card regardless of color out of this pack. But Roadrunner's still decent and in our most likely color to be played. Take Up the Shield is also a solid combat trick in white. I'm going to go Roadrunner here. Let's lock in on our red and see what we can do other than that. So here we can grab Vault Plunderer, Sphinx, Burrow Fiend as the strongest monocolored cards. The red cards just suck in this pack, so it's not really an option. Three white cards, one green, one black. I guess 4 if you count the multicolored spell. Could play all these together. So this is a second Badlands revival, which is something. But without like self-mill stuff, it doesn't really synergize. Go Plunderer. My favorite of those cards in terms of like being easily splashable too. Pick 4. With double Magda, try to play Indomitable creativity. Not really going to happen. Whenever one or more tokens your opponent's control enter, I get a tapped copy as well. Okay, that doesn't matter too much. When our tokens enter, we drain them for a life. Okay, that's pretty narrow. The other options are like Sterling Supplier, a fine 5-drop in white. Take the Sterling Supplier. Lock in on our mid Boros deck, I think. The Fell the Mighty is actually really solid with mercenary token producers. So it's really good with our Prickly Pear, our Form a Posse, our Reckless Lackey's nice as well. But with mercenary tokens, the really nice thing about this with like Form a Posse is we can really control exactly what power we want to destroy. Because we can make sure, you know, if we have a 2/2 on the board and we specifically want to blow up everything with 4 power or greater, then we can buff that 2/2 up to 3 power and then say, okay, everything with more than 3 power is dead now. Fell the Mighty is probably at its best in Boros because they make the most mercenary tokens, like off of this Prickly Pear here. Breaches, you have to sack artifacts, so if we make enough treasures, could give us coin flips towards doing some stuff. If we have any treasure to sack, that is a really good ability. I'm just gonna take breaches here over prickly pear. Because whether or not you get heads or tails, or whether you get heads or whether you get tails, this does something quite good. You just have to have the treasure tokens to sack to do that in the first place. Well, I was correct that white is very open because Matter Weaver is the best card we have seen in the entire draft, let alone this pack. 3 mana, 2/4. Every time you cast a creature, you get a 1/1. Ridiculously good deal. Here's another prickly pear. You can still get that. So we are Boros Splash Blue. Quick Draw is a combat trick that commits a crime, which is interesting. Still think I'm low enough on removal, just take Trick Shot instead, as expensive as it is. Splash Rope Master in or Caught on the Crossfire. Blow up non-outlaws if we're lucky. I don't really want to do either of those things. I feel a little closer to splashing in Rope Master since it's also a crime. Probably Stagecoach Security here. Got a lot of 3s. I don't think I have room for Townsfolk. Take a Peddler. Take a Quick Draw. And Ariet's Lullaby is not completely unplayable if we don't get better removal. Okay, what did we open? We got a second Form of Posse. We almost definitely wheel that, which means we take Stagecoach Security or Thunder Salvo. Those aren't even good cards. We splash in a Nimble Brigand or try to hit double black for Rakdos. It's not a particularly good pack to open. I mean, there is a Form of Posse, which is good for this deck, but I think that just straight up wheels, but then there's nothing to take to try to wheel it. I could take Thunder Salvo, but that's very mid in this deck. I'm just gonna make sure, no matter what weird nonsense happens, we just get that Form of Posse. Irascible Wolverine, I guess. Plot this, you play it on your next turn with all your mana untapped. It's the general idea. Get some card draw. Very good creature with the Trained Erranks here. 2 mana, 3/1. First strike very easily. Solid up really easily. Or we take the red-white duel that also commits a crime. That double Magda. And a 3-color deck. 3-color deck wants the duel pretty badly. Double Magda loves the crime. I'm gonna go bluffs. Pick 4. Skewer the Critics is a crime and a decently efficient removal spell. Don't really have a lot of creatures to trigger Scale Storm Summoner. We've got 3 Power 4 or greater. Actually, Sterling Supplier doesn't count because it can't put the counter on itself. We got the Mercenary tokens to, I guess, get somebody to 4 power. If I have 1 Mercenary in this on the board, then this attacks with 4 power. Still feeling a little higher on Skewer. Treasure tokens are incredible in here. We need them for breaches. We need them for Magda. Let's grab Mine Raider. Pick 6 is nothing much. Mirage Mesa for fixing or the Courser to try to draw cards, but it's very low toughness. Does not tend to get more than like 1 attack off, in which case it's basically just Wolverine. Which isn't crazy. Take the Mesa here. Okay, Blast is a very good trick and very good draw. We'll take that. Blue-red duel is perfect. This draft was like such an awkward one that despite the set being pretty old and having drafted it a ton, having cashed out an Arena Open draft of it, like that's how much I drafted it, I don't think I've ever done red, white, splash, blue before. This was just a very weird draft overall. I guess you're supposed to be in black. Jesus. Insanely late consuming ashes and then Bloodseeker still there. Got treasure tokens. Honestly, at this point, might as well try out throwing a loot in here. Be goofy. Alright. Cut 4 cards. Just cut the filleriest creatures. Loot is probably a little optimistic, shall I say? Alright, well. We got 2 Magdas, so we have a plan. Get a Magda down, play a bunch of removal, get treasures, make dragons kill. If Magda dies before we get enough treasures for a dragon, maybe we'll draw into a breaches and then start doubling spells in the right positions. Our crimes can draw us cards off the Bandits Hall. The Hall's also fixing for us. Multiple lands commit crimes. Just 2 of them, but still. Yeah. This is a deck. I don't feel like I'm particularly likely to ever get an aggro win, so I'm a little interested in maybe cutting Roadrunner. But I don't know what I put back in. I don't think I put loot back in. It's a play the cards for 1 turn kind of thing. We have 2, like, pretty narrow spree cards, but if we're lucky and we're in the exact right position, they're kind of a blowout. Could try running one of those. Over the Roadrunner. Double blue on Shifting Grift is difficult though, so it would really just be the Return the Favor. You know what? Fine. I'll run Return the Favor over this Roadrunner. I really don't think it's doing much for us. Okay. Weird little Jeskai crime pile. It's kind of just where things ended up. Here we'll have to see how far it can take us as we hop into the gameplay. Alright, Magda Breaches combo if we commit 1 crime. We have to draw a land, but we are on the draw for that, and any land in the deck gives us the Bandit's Hall to have the mana for everything else. So I'm going to keep this. There's Desperate Bloodseeker, starting things off for our opponent. Milling themselves because they are Golgari Reanimator. We have missed. Neither of our first 2 draws are lands at all. But unless we fail all 3 of our first draws to find a land, we don't really get punished. Of course. We lost 3 coin flips in a row, and that may lose us the game. So far they just have a 2/2 and a 4/3 down. Got that land now. Can exile the 4/3 or play the Mana Rock. I think I need to play the Mana Rock here. Because they have a second copy in exile. Getting at least another 4/3 here. Man, I wish this was Detention Sphere, so I could exile both copies. I'm like a blue-white exile spell? Maybe Detention Sphere. Oh, okay, well I guess we lose. It's just 3 4-power creatures. Yeah, I mean, we had a shot if we didn't miss land draws, but that'll do it. 3 4-power creatures for 4 mana that turn. Ouch. Here we are on the draw again for game number 2. Much better hand this time. Just perfect mana no matter what. Early plays for blockers and removal. Now even a bomb with the Matter Weaver. Raska the Silencer. Terrifying. Just skewer that, do we not? Yeah, so every time one of our creatures dies, they can turn it into a treasure token on their board, which is pretty bad for us. Like, even if just Medic dies, they then get a treasure token that draws a card when it sacks, which is really good value off of that alone. But if something like Matter Weaver were to die, they would have the ability whenever they cast a creature to do those things. Actually, if Matter Weaver died, they would go so crazy, because they could keep making copies of the Matter Weaver every time they cast a creature, because it would be an artifact token, right? Oh no, it wouldn't be a token. It wouldn't be a token, it would only be an artifact. Dang. That would be cool though, in theory. Could be a Fell the Mighty game now. I don't have a way to make a 1-power. I guess I could Metamorphic Blast Fell the Mighty if I had 1,000,000 mana. It's not shipping up to be the case right now. I either drop Matter Weaver or I draw cards off Breaches. Or sorry, off Breaches, off Metamorphic Blast. I think I'm going to draw the cards here. Take my 5. Do some digging. Removal spell and a Prickly Pear. Prickly Pear plays really well with a Fell the Mighty. I feel like that is the play for the turn. Do that and get the tap land out of the way. Very happy to see removal get spent on the 2/2 since it'll die to the Fell anyway, and that makes it less likely that they'll have a removal spell in response. That's the way you can get out of Fell the Mighty. If you blow up the creature that you're targeting, then the entire spell gets countered. So if they don't have an additional removal spell here, we get to Fell everybody now with this Mercenary. Be very happy if they like tap out for a big creature or something. Okay. More than happy with that. We've got the Aegis for that creature. Also the Rope Master. The Lassoed by the Law. Can Aegis and play a 3-drop, so that feels best here. It's also a solid creature to be able to turn things into copies of. Here's Matter Weaver on the empty board to take over. Lands off the top is beautiful for us. Supplier 2 mana left. There's the concession from our opponent. So we get the Gnome token there, and then we can put the Aegis on the 1/1 and attack with a 4/2 and a 2/4. Have a 1/1 token and a Sterling Supplier, and really good game there for the Fell the Mighty. That is 1-1 heading into game 3. Very slow hand here. We don't do anything until our 4-mana removal spell. I think I need to mull that on the draw especially. Is a little quicker with Prickly Pear. Take it and ditch the 5-drop. Like the Mind Raider there. Basically impossible. They're going to kill both halves of the Prickly Pear, and either half is the Outlaw for Mind Raider. If we top deck the Outlaw Medic, that's perfect. Okay. I don't need a 5th mana next turn. So I could just play the Pear here. Yeah, Pear's really good with Outlaw Medic. Yeah. Getting the treasure token would allow me to do the full metamorphic blasts. To make something a 0-1 and draw the 2. But it's not necessary. I should have attacked before I cast anything here, but still gain the 1 versus blocking nothing. Whenever you cast an outlaw, copy that spell. Well, that cannot stay on this board. Lasso and swing 4. Oasis Gardener. Just a 2/2 Scarecrow. Also a mana dork. Mirage Mesa. Don't have the mana to blast that into 0-1 stats. I'm just swing like this and just draw 2. Because the trade's already okay. Because we could get rid of the mana dork. Okay, we're deeper into white than blue overall, even if I have multiple blue spells in the hand. They're at 13 here. You know what? I'm gonna Mind Raider Overblast. Get more power on this board. And push damage. Especially with the Rope Master's a very good tempo play. Oh, this only bounces tapped creatures. This is not as good as I remember it. I'm probably getting this mixed up with a card from another set. Probably the Tarkir Dragonstorm Snake thing. Still works on Oasis Gardener. I mean, they gain more life, but still. Crew 1 for a 6/5. Rude. Oh, so they crew it and I blast it. They have 1 blocker up here, so blast should be very good, actually. I don't really think the tapping matters much here. I guess I probably should have just put it all on the Trampler. But this way, like, if they, for some weird reason, don't crew, then the medic still does its thing. I'm surprised they chose to take all that. I guess the 4/2 was much more likely to combat trick kill the 6/5. We drew the Magda. The Matter Weaver can copy treasure tokens as well. So Matter Weaver Magda can get to the dragon more easily. Okay, Legion Extruders, solid removal here, the double crime. I think they accidentally did it the wrong way around. Probably better to kill the Mind Raider and stun the 2/2. Okay. Play Matter Weaver. Cast Magda cloning the treasure. Sure, that feels like where we're at. But maybe I'm supposed to just get the beef. It's not really beef, but, you know, just get the 1/1s. And I have returned the favor for 1 held up here. I could turn Oasis Gardener into a 3/3, I guess. It's Legion Extruder. Okay. Blow up 3/2 or life gain bird. And blow up the better blocker. And there's the concession. All right. Return the favor. Played better than the stupid Roadrunner would have in that game. Actually, I'm not so sure about that. That was a relatively aggressive start for us, so maybe the Roadrunner would have played better still. But it was good work from Return the Favor. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. Alright, not a great hand here, but it has both of our main colors and a Lullaby against their first scary threat. Really hoping to draw one of our Outlaws before turn 3. Could play Prickly Pear here or something like that. Outlaw Medic off the top would be good too. Well, that is a cast and pray they don't have removal style draw. Ooh, they don't have removal, but they've got a excellent card. Outcaster Greenblade is probably my favorite uncommon in the whole set. I kind of forgot it existed, but certainly an S+ tier uncommon. It is mana fixing and a very, very beefy creature at the same time. It's a 2-for-1 because you get that solid body on the ground and get whatever lands you need, specifically grabbing the excellent dual lands that are in this format. Okay. This is really disappointing I don't have an Outlaw out for the Mine Raider. Because that means we won't have a treasure to play Breaches or to sack to Breaches, but I can't just play nothing this turn. Bounce and gain 1. Yeah, there's no point in attacking. They just gain a life if I do. Buried in the Garden. This is looking like the dream 5-color deck here. Greenblade and Buried in the Garden. Buried in the Garden being removal plus fixing at the same time. Not committing any crime this turn, so let's go Supplier on the Trampler. So I can poke here. And be mana efficient. Because the other option is playing a 2-mana spell. Oh my god, yeah. This is a very bomb-heavy format. A lot of really good rares and mythics, which is why the 5-color decks in the format can be really good, because you can get just like random red, white, white rares and just be like, alright, sure, I'll play this bomb, I'll play that bomb. We do not have our blue mana still. Gross. They could double block and kill Mine Raider now, but we get to kill Greenblade if they do. Which isn't the greatest deal ever, but it's worth it, I think. There's Magda and pass. Man, they got the pinger to kill my gnome. It's good RNG on the first hit. I think that was the best token they could hit there. Let's just clear out one of our cards. All the tokens are pretty good, though. Alright. It is indeed the OTJ classic 5-color Oops All Bombs. Archangel of Tithes has hit the board. It's going to be a monumentally huge problem. I guess I can lullaby this medic here. But then they just draw a card. It's just not a good trade at all. Kind of just sitting here watching me die to Merriment and Tithes now. I guess it might have been worth going for Lullaby, because at least that gives Magda a treasure token trigger, so we could have gone Lullaby plus Aegis to get rid of Medic and the Archangel, but again, I'm still dying to Merriment in that position. So it doesn't solve all of our problems. Outlaw Medic, Harbristle Bandit. They pass through. One castable card. Yeah, Merriment is the kind of card all they have to do is sit here and wait, and it will kill me eventually, so we can't even like try to use Return the Favor to advantage because they don't have to try to go for any removal or anything here, really. Yep. It's going to be pretty dead. Pay 1 per block. Block with just the 1, because then there's a chance I can double Return the Favor, some kind of combat trick. Alright, well, that was about as many things going wrong as possible. No blue mana, draw double blue spell, and most importantly, just get bombed out pretty hard. 2-2 it is, heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 5. This will be the deciding factor versus whether or not we will make it to at least a 50-50 run with this deck. Honestly, this draft was really, really rough, so I would take a 50-50. And it would also be really disappointing at the same time if this deck gets 3-3 or better. Because if this deck does as well as our blue-black deck that we started with, that's just really depressing for that blue-black deck, because I think that our first deck was much better than this one. This is just scrapping with the best we could come up with out of a very mediocre pod. And I think our blue-black deck was actually just like great synergy stuff. Like, I mean, we did what we could. We have some synergy here. We built around our cards and our mechanics and everything. It's just, they're not particularly strong cards or mechanics or anything. I could go for the Blast on Duelist, but I think the Draw 2 is likely better than kill a single card. The big thing I like about trying to Blast the Duelist is that I get the treasure off Magda, and that's the only part that's particularly appealing to that. Okay. Prick Repair is a solid draw. They've got a Breaches down and an Oasis Gardener they can sack to try to double a different card. So they could sack the Gardener to try to double that. And worst case scenario, kill Magda, I guess. Actually, it might be the best case scenario. Yeah, I think they would have rather gotten the damage than the copy, so that was good RNG for them. They won that coin flip by getting to kill Magda. Pretty disappointing for us. But I could just fell now. Can also Metamorphic Blast and still fell next turn. I'd like you to do the O1 trick here. Not really. Let's just do Blast, draw 2, and then go Fell next turn. That way if I draw like my Reckless Lackey, I could Fell the Mighty plus play the Lackey. I'm playing all untapped mana next turn. Alright, well they plot a Loan Shark, so I would rather not Fell yet then. Menacing Breaches and a Spring Splasher. Oh, somebody kills Spring Splasher. No attack. Prickly Pear is a solid defensive card here. It does make the attacks kind of awkward for them. Let's go. Good stuff from Prickly Pear. Land. And I do have an X spell in my hand, so it's not terror bad. Should I wait or should I make 4/1/1s? Probably wait, because I have so many lands in hand. We know that we're not casting Fell the Mighty until the Loan Shark comes down. But we could form a posse and make 4/1/1s and they would all survive the Fell the Mighty. Marauding Sphinx. Okay. This would be a beautiful Fell turn. Unless they have a 1 red mana way to kill our 1/1, which I don't think exists in the set. I don't think there's a single red burn. I guess they could hit Skewer the Critics here. Oh yeah, that's Menace. And as long as they don't Skewer the Critics, the 1/1, just Fell the Mighty. They have Quick Draw. That's actually gross. We lose to Quick Draw because they could +1/+1 our creature here, and then we wouldn't kill the stuff. I mean, I wouldn't kill Splash. I would still kill the 3 most important creatures, but I wouldn't kill Spring Splasher anymore. Although I think Quick Draw can only target creatures you control. Maybe? If they have something for 1 red, which it seems like they do, I think it's Quick Draw. Quick Draw, OTJ. That's showing me the Quick Draw Precon deck. I don't care about that. Target creature you control gets +1/+1. Okay. So that wouldn't have done anything there. Cool. They can keep surveilling. And that's a 3/3 flyer. Okay, that's going to be a 3/3 flyer. Well, I've got my big old 3/4 flyer to block that. Actually, I guess I don't, because we know that they're on Quick Draw. They could Quick Draw and have their 3/3 flyer eat my 3/4. Second breaches. We've had first breaches, but what about second breaches? Watch them have had like counter unless I pay 2 this whole time, secretly. I can make 6 mercenaries. No, I can make 7 mercenaries, or I could make 5 of them to play around counter unless I pay 2. I can make 5 of them and 1 outlaw medic. I think 5 and 1 medic will still be enough to win. So I could play it safe here. Quick draw again is +1/+1 first strike. So it doesn't kill supplier on blocks here. If that is what it is. I feel like the odds of them having the counter in hand are like really, really low here. They had 1 red mana. The duelist was tapped. I'm pretty sure the duelist was tapped. So they have a 1 red mana spell in hand. Or they were full control moding it. Okay, they have the quick draw. So they just play it just to stop damage. Okay. 7 mercenaries. The posse has been formed. And the game has been winned. Unless they surveil into something good here. If they're running the deal 2 to everybody, that would be tragic. Oh my god, they kept it on top. Let's just get a 1/1 every other turn. I guess because they can... Yeah, because they do want to skip a turn to get the flyer. So that lets them skip a turn to get the flyer and have something plotted for later. Can double block with these 2 to have 4 power on it. But then I can make sure this is 6 power at least. To kill both. I just need a 2/2 and a 1/1 to block the 3/3. Duelist can get in without having to attack anyway. Two, 2, and a 1/3 would do it as well. Sure. All in. Yeah, I can't imagine this not being double block here. And I'm going to gain infinite life next turn. Land off the top. That should be game, basically. Oh my god! Yeah, they conceded anyway. I was so confident I was just going to buff the heck out of that, but giving the whole board +1/+1 vigilance means keep them all untapped. And send everybody in. They block the 3/3, take 14, 15, 16 damage. Wow. So they'd block a 2/2 instead to keep breaches and take 17. Go to 1. Sick draw, that stagecoach security. Okay, well, this deck is officially, statistically, as powerful as the first draft that we did this flashback season. I don't know if I agree with that, but I'll take what I can get. We'll see if we can't take it any farther heading into round number 6. All right, here is our unkeepable hand for game number 6. This is not much better, double blue spell in it. But we've got the Magda for treasures, potentially. Keep Ditch Blast, hope to treasure into breaches. And then if we don't manage to do anything blue, then at the very least, we only have 1 blue card in hand instead of 2, because we ditched one of them. Saving the bluffs to play after Magda's on board if I can. Oh my god, we top decked the only other blue card. No, there's one blue card we haven't seen. There are 4 in the entire deck. We've seen 3 of them here. One's also... Oh, that's Burrow Fiend. That's not the one that destroys artifacts. That's the one that hits like a truck. Yep, it's 3/3 already. Take a bajillions. Pair here. So now they can play a summoning sick creature to saddle the Burrow Fiend, and if they hit any more creatures, it's now a 4/4, which means they're attacking with a 4/4 and a 3/3 this turn, because the Bristlepack Sentry can attack. This is a very, very strong start from the green-red aggro. Luckily, they did not have another creature to do the double attack there. But it's still a huge hit from Burrow Fiend. Now the Prickly Pear. Prickly Pear plays very well. Very well with Bristlepack Sentry, because the Mercenary token makes it a 4/3 and then it can attack, because it doesn't care if it's another creature. If it itself has 4 power, that counts. So we need to make the treasure... We need to make the treasure to cast the Aegis here. We're just taking so much damage. Oh, it makes the treasure tapped. I should have done that sooner then. I forgot about that. Tapped treasure token. Oof. Oh, I mean, we did curve out. We went 2-drop into 3-drop. So we didn't actually have an opportunity to play this tap land and get the treasure until this turn. In that case, yeah, that's actually the best way we could have played it. Smagged on to pair on 3 and then tap land. Unless I played nothing turn 3 just to get the tap treasure. Alright, well... Just can only play one spell here. So dead. It's not even funny. Fling the face, yeah. Okay. Pretty good. Okay, hold up. Sit forward in the chair style stuff here. I don't have the mana to double spell this turn. I'm 1 off. I can breaches and plot the security and then guarantee the double spell next turn. Sacking the Aegis to do it. To do the breaches ability. They have to have land in hand for this to be an out, but it's all we've got. That doesn't look like land to me. They're hovering over it. buff. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a draw. Double removal. Ah, you got me. Man, that's a bummer, because that was a rough opener against a really good one from our opponent, and we're actually still one turn off from potentially stabilizing. That double spell was going to be massive. We were going to have a 4/5 plus 3/4 blocker and a third blocker or a removal spell there. Like, whichever way it goes, we sacrifice the Aegis, blow up one of their creatures and play 2 blockers, or play 3 blockers total. I think either way, if we had just one more turn there, if they didn't have that betrayal, we could have gotten really stable on that board. Stable enough to potentially survive a betrayal if they drew it a turn after when they did. Dang. Alright. Fair enough, though. This deck was real mid, and it gets a very mid record as such. A 3-3 record somehow. Playing just as well as our very excellent blue-black deck. Yeah, by the end of the draft, it looked very clear, seeing a really late Consuming Ashes, that we should have hopped on black, but that pack 1 was really hard to read what was and wasn't open, because it was just a very, very weak pack altogether. The best card that we saw was like a pick 5 Lasso by the Law, so we knew that white was decently open, and that's about it for solid reads we could get out of pack 1. Now, at the start of pack 2, when we really didn't know what colors were open or not, we had opportunities to take Vault Plunderer type stuff earlier. We might have been able to end up in like black-white with a perfect read on the pod as maybe like the strongest spot to be, or just like stick to that Badlands revival we took early and try to force green black. We wouldn't have gotten a ton of great green, but we've gotten plenty decent black by the end of that third pack. But I think with the signals that we were getting in the draft pod, it would have been really hard to end up in those spots. It was just a kind of murky pod of very bad first pack. We scrapped together, we scrounged together something reasonable enough to get us a 3-3 record, but very awkward kind of deck here, so happy to get at least that average 3-3 with it. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.